Welcome to Let's Talk Schools. I am so excited today to have two special guests. I'm Mike Looney, the superintendent of schools and the host, and I have two of our fantastic school leaders. You're the first two principals that we've had on the show, so welcome, and I am so delighted that you're here. Anthony, if you'll introduce yourself, and then Tim.
Well, I'm Anthony Newbold. I am the proud principal of Global Impact Academy, new STEM school in Fairburn.
And I'm Tim Duncan. I'm the new principal of Innovation Academy in downtown Alpharetta.
So in many respects, you're two sister schools, one in the south, one in the north, but the concept of the school is the same, and that is it's a school where students can come and have an atypical experience in that they are a lot more freedoms, a lot more accountability perhaps, and the ability to innovate. What makes your school the go-to school from your perspective, principal?
Well, first and foremost, we have amazing students. We have students who want to be there, are fully engaged in the STEM curriculum that we offer, and they're just amazing people. So that's first and foremost. But when you go to a curriculum standpoint, we're really trying to integrate STEM into everything that we do, because it is everywhere that we are. And really just trying to open up the door so that students understand that STEM is everywhere and there is a place for everyone in STEM.
Now, your school is new. You've been in operation for how long now?
1 year.
1 year. And you opened with what group of students?
So we open with just 9th and 10th grade students. The idea is every year we'll bring in another group of 9th graders until we're fully 9 through 12. And that slow introduction has really worked well for us. We're able to work on the culture, establish the culture that we want to see, and really give students that springboard into what their high school experience is going to be.
Wow. And sir, now give us the sales pitch. What's different and special about your school?
Well, I've been blessed to be part of Fulton County for quite a while, and I'm just so excited that we invested in having another option for our stakeholders. I think what's different is where I'm at in my career at this point is this extra emphasis on projects. And it's not all about assessment and the test. And so I'm really glad to have an opportunity to explore how we might look at kids grading differently, how we might engage them differently, how we might excite them about their learning. And it's been off to a really strong start.
Well, I know that, first of all, being a high school principal is incredibly difficult. I claim that it's the most difficult job in the country. I really, truly believe that. On top of that, you began the school year with brand new students, and you were coming out of COVID. We were all coming out of COVID. So what has been the greatest challenge that you faced coming back in a face-to-face environment in a brand new school setting? So Tim, I'll let you go first.
Sure. So for starts, we brought in students from 65 different feeders, which is unheard of. So between the private schools, the charter schools, all the middle schools of North Fulton, and all the high schools of North Fulton, that was a lot of students coming in from just different educational backgrounds.
65
different schools. And that's opening with 900 students. And you know what really came about is I was also bringing teachers from a lot of different schools too. And so starting fresh over, establishing the culture and climate, as Anthony talked about, I think, that's where we had to spend a lot of time. But, we didn't have much time to waste. And so I did like that their interest in their pathways already helped them form a little bit of a group and get to know each other. And of course, the projects helped expand that. So the transition hasn't been maybe as difficult as I thought, knowing that we brought so many different people from so many different places.
Great leadership makes a difference, and you're one of those. Same for you, Anthony. Can you tell us a little bit about your greatest challenge opening a brand new school, kind of on the heels of COVID?
So definitely reacclimating students to school. They've had about 18 months off where they were at home, and many of them were kind of left to their own devices. Some of them had acquired skills that allowed them to figure out conflict resolution. That was all lost. And so reacclimating students in, we were very intentional about that piece. So 4 days a week, our students have social emotional learning time where we focus on all of these different pieces, because we knew that during COVID, not all of our students were at home in a healthy home and didn't have that healthy home life. And so we wanted to make sure that we created an intentional space where students could practice some of those skills, listen to others and learn from others so that they could acquire the skills they need in order to be successful adults.
So I think one of the things that makes both of your schools very unique, not only does it look different on the outside, it looks, they have a different vibe when you look at it. But when you walk in the doors, they're very different and very unique. I didn't see a lot of traditional classrooms with columns and rows of students. I saw a different type of learning. And so is that because of the project-based learning, or what is that a result of?
Well, I was very fortunate to have an opportunity by Fulton to do a lot of research in other schools, and look at some of the leading learning environments really all around the country. And we're always looking for ways to incorporate more openness and flexibility in the classroom setting. And it wasn't just about the flexible grouping that we have with all the furniture being on wheels, having large spaces, but it was also looking at how teachers wanted to teach and what environment allowed them to do that, to the best of their ability. So the grand opening of our cafeteria, which we can't call the cafeteria because it's so much more, we call it the hangar, is really mimicking more of an office environment or absolutely a college student center. And it's become the main hub of the school. And I love seeing that we're able to use a space that's typically only utilized a couple of hours a day is filled with kids 8 hours of the day, and gives us a lot of flexibility and challenges of how we might be able to use this space now that we have it. And it's just been amazing. The kids have just been drawn to it, and they feel this greater sense of freedom, and they don't really realize that there's actually easier supervision happening between all the glass, the cameras, and keeping them contained in a certain amount of space. As an administrator, I really appreciate that, being able to keep eyes and keep the school safe, but also somehow magically the kids feel like they have a lot more freedom and room. But it's been nice.
Anthony?
Yeah, so Tim and I actually had the opportunity to work together for a large chunk of our preparation time before we got students. And one of the things that we talked about extensively, and we went on visits to go shopping for furniture, was that mobility in furniture. Because if we're going to do the projects, the Georgia Tech projects, if we're going to do that, one of the things that's central to that is student collaboration. And we wanted an easy way for teachers to be able to move their furniture. You go into our classrooms and we have similar desks for our teachers. Teachers don't have that traditional stationary desk. Even their desks are on casters, and they can move around and interact with students as they see fit. So that was very, very important for us, and so we created that space. When you walk into our schools, we have some similar areas where the teachers have garage doors. And I can teach students inside my classroom, but if there are some students who needed to go out and continue a project, we can send them out into the hallway. They can project from their device onto the monitor, and the work can continue. And teachers have an easier time monitoring what's going on in the classroom and outside. And so having those conversations about what we envisioned, then being able to go out and shop for those items to facilitate that, was a big difference maker, and the teachers greatly appreciate it.
So we're approaching the end of your first year of having a new school. And so do you have, for the upcoming year, do you have a waiting list for new students? And whether you do or don't, what's the process for a student and or his or her parents to say, I want to get more information about GIA or IA?
So for us, our application opens in October. It goes from October to December. And we send out our notices in January. But before that, both of us engaged with the community. We had school tours, information sessions, where people who were just interested, you're not committing, but if you're interested, you can come in and get all the information you need, ask all the questions of us that you need about the school to make an informed decision about whether this is the place for you and your scholar. So we start those in September. And then that window opens up. And from there, we go through and we look through the applications. We do flip grid, so we get to know the students' personalities, and then we send out those acceptances. And so the students really take to it. We've had video of students getting excited, opening up that email with that video in there.
Like college acceptance.
Like a college
letter.
acceptance. And so we had a lot of fun with just creating that experience for students.
A similar story, and we've been really excited to be able to tour them through the building. And if they had any question about applying, it's usually answered once they enter the building. And it's not just the physical structure of the building we mentioned earlier, but so much of when they see these labs and the latest equipment and how expansive it is, and they just can't wait to touch it and engage with it. And so, beyond the building is how the classrooms are equipped to this magnet level along the pathways that just gets everybody excited to go and touch things.
I think your schools are a good mirror of what great schools can become. And that's whether it's the two of your schools or the rest of our high schools. I think there's opportunities for all of our schools in the region to learn from your schools. And to your point about how they're equipped, we were talking before the show began about cadavers, and you were describing the mannequin, or I guess an artificial cadaver, for the lack of a better way of describing it. Can you just give us a little, like a 30-second speech about that?
Yeah, so one of our pathways is healthcare. And in healthcare, we've got patient care, biotech, and emergency medical responding. And our goal is to give our students the most real experience as possible. And so to your point about cadavers, when you're a medical student, you get your cadaver and you're working on your cadaver, and that's how you learn human anatomy and all of those different pieces. But we can't necessarily do that at the high school level.
No, we would be in trouble if we had live cadavers.
Absolutely.
Or not live, but you understand, real.
Right, so what we do have though are these mannequins that are the next best thing. They can speak to you, their eyes move, you can intubate them, you can take their pulse, their blood pressure, you can draw blood. There's a number of things that you can do with this mannequin that's there, and it doesn't hurt anybody. But it does give you that real experience. And so to see students around there, holding the tablet, making their eyes change color, and talk about the different possibilities for that particular affliction is just remarkable. And so it is exciting to see that students are getting that real world experience that they need in order to take them to the next level.
What's exciting to me is what you just described is a result of STEM. It's a result of someone learning science and biology and all that sort of thing. And so we're creating, in some ways, the next generation of experts that will be leading our country. And so thank both of you for your tremendous leadership. Thank your faculty and staff for doing such a great job. I have toured both of your schools multiple times. I get excited when I walk in the door. People that talk to me about visiting your schools get excited about what's happening, and it's obvious that your students are excited. You got waiting lists, which is unheard of here in the public school sector. So thank you, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us. I'm going to ask you to come back and give us more. We just scratched the surface today. Thank you so much for joining us for Let's Talk Schools. If you're interested in GIA, Global Impact Academy, or the Innovation Academy, there's a lot of information available on the district's website. You can go to schools and click on the appropriate link leading to those schools. They're fabulous examples of all that's happening in Fulton County Schools.